It kind of looks like a donut wrapped in ribbon.
Hi everyone.
Hi guys, today I'm going to teach you how to play Clue the Grinch. It plays sort of like classic Clue, except there are 2 extra gimmicks that go with the Grinch theme. I'll go over those very briefly at first, and it comes from these. The first gimmick comes from these personality cards. There are 6 total, and then number 2, you have this deck of a little bit more cards. Again, I'll go over these into more detail near the end of the video, but first, let's go over the main mechanic of Clue. The first thing to do to set up the game is have each player choose which character they want to play as, and they each get the respective personality card to go with it. The other side of the personality cards shows one of the gimmicks of this game, and like I said earlier, I'll go over this gimmick later on, and as such, I can't spoil it now, but just so you know, when you put this card in front of you, you place it not this side up, but the other side. Here is who you can play as: Papa Who, Mama Who, Auntie Who, Whoville Mayor, Cousin Who, and Cindy Lou Who. Obviously, these characters are also clues as shown on these cards. They represent who caught the Grinch. Now let's introduce the item cards, which represent what item the Grinch stole. First is the drum, and here is the piece for it. Then there's the roast beast, and this is what the token looks like. Next, the stocking, and the piece for it is right here. Well, that Grinchy Grinch took that one last can of Who hash. An iconic holiday classic, the Christmas tree. Here is what the token looks like. And lastly, the Christmas wreath. Here's the token for it. It kind of looks like a donut wrapped in ribbon. There are 9 locations in this game, and they are represented by where the item was stolen from. I'll go over the locations on the game board in just a moment, but here are the cards for the locations. The Grinch's Lair, Town Square, Mount Crumpet. Yes, even Max's bed gets a location. Banquet Hall, Family Room, Living Room, Bedroom, and the Kitchen. Now that the who's, what's, and where's have been introduced, let's continue with the setup. Shuffle the deck of a little bit more cards and place them face down off to the side of the game board for all players to reach. Then you're going to separate all the characters, items, and locations cards as shown like this. Shuffle them, and then without looking, pick one card from each deck and put it in the clue envelope. The best way to do this is to flip each deck face down, shuffle each deck individually, then draw the top card of each deck so you'll have your who, what, and where. And of course, without looking, place those cards in the clue envelope. With the 3 clues inside of the envelope, you're then left with 18 cards of 5 characters, 5 items, and 8 locations. You will then combine those 18 cards, shuffle them all up, and deal them evenly to each player so that each player has the same number of cards as one another. Any leftover cards you have left after dealing are placed face up off to the side of the game board. For example, in a 4-player game, each character gets 4 cards. That leaves you with 2 extra cards. Those 2 cards are placed face up on the side of the game board. Give each player a clue sheet. Write your name down if you want to, and as you play, if you find any important information that can help you, write it down here in the notes section. During setup, look at the face-up leftover clues on the side of the game board and check those off your sheet. Then you're going to look at the clue cards that are in your hand, and you're going to check those off as well. While you play, you'll be able to peek at other players' cards in the form of suggestions, and you'll check those off as well. There is one thing to keep in mind, and it's very important. Do not let any other player peek at your clue sheet. You don't want to let anybody cheat their way to victory. This is the game board. I'll cover this before I finish off the setup. With the locations pretty much covering most of the game board, the play area here is 3 sizes too small, which is good. because it doesn't take that long to go from one end of the board to the other. So the first spot is this spot right here with the Grinch. That's the starting space. And then here are your locations. You have Mount Crumpet, the family room, the bedroom, the banquet hall, and Max's bed. For each of the remaining 4 locations, they each have their secret passage that leads to the opposite corner of the game board. I'll go over how you can use a secret passage later in the video. But for these 4 locations, you have Grinch's lair with a secret passage connecting to the living room and vice versa. Then down here you have the kitchen with a secret passage leading to Town Square and vice versa. The last part of the setup is to place all 6 characters and all 6 items on the starting space. You heard that right. All 6 characters, even if there are less than 6 people playing. Then each player rolls the dice, the highest roller goes first, and turn order goes clockwise. On your turn, you will roll the dice and move that many number of spaces with your character. You may move up, down, left, and right, but not diagonally. You can only enter a location through its doorway as indicated by the green arrows. You do not have to have an exact roll to enter a location. For example, my piece is right here. I'm 2 spaces away from the kitchen, 3 spaces away from the banquet hall, and 4 spaces away from Max's bed, and I roll a 5. I can go to any one of those 3 locations because I have enough moves from my dice roll to reach them. Just keep in mind, whenever you enter a location, you must give up the remaining moves of your dice roll for that turn. Once you enter a location, you may make a suggestion on who caught the Grinch, what item the Grinch stole, and where the item was stolen from. When making your suggestion, you can only use the location that you are currently in. As far as the character and item goes that you have chosen in your suggestion, move those pieces to your location. For example, I'm in the banquet hall, and I suggest that it was Cindy Lou Who with the drum in the banquet hall. So I'm going to move the Cindy Lou Who piece to the banquet hall, and the same for the drum item. The player to your left must then look through their hand to see if they have 1 or more of the clue cards in your suggestion. If not, the next player in line, in clockwise order, must do the same, and this will continue until a player has 1 or more of the clue cards in your suggestion. They will pick one of those cards, let you peek at it, so that no one else can see what it is, and then you will check that off on your clue sheet. Any characters and items that were moved as part of a suggestion must stay where they are and are not returned to their original positions. If at the start of your turn, you're in a location that you had just moved to as part of another player's suggestion, you can skip on rolling the dice and go for a suggestion on that turn right away. If at the start of your turn, you're in a location that has a secret passage, you can skip on the dice roll and move your piece to the location that the secret passage is connected to. Then to finish your turn, you may make a suggestion in the location that you just arrived at. To make an accusation, you must first return your piece to the starting spot. You make your accusation by announcing who caught the Grinch, what item the Grinch stole, and where the item was stolen from. You then take your clue envelope, you open it up, and secretly peek at the cards so no one else can see what they are. If all 3 cards are correct, you win the game. Otherwise, put the cards back in the envelope so no one else can see them, of course, and then you can no longer win the game. You still have to continue playing though. The only thing you can do from here on out is to help out with other players' suggestions. That is the main mechanic of Clue the Grinch. So go ahead and pause here if you want to read about a 2-player game or a tag team game. Now that you know how Clue originally works, let's go over the 2 gimmicks that makes this version of Clue much different. The first are the personality cards. When you start the game, you take the card of the character that you chose, and you place your card not this side up, but this side up. The first gimmick are the superpowers. You can only use your superpower once per game, and you can only use the superpower of the character that you are playing as. Whenever you use your superpower, you flip your card face down like this to show that you have used your superpower. Let's go over each of the 6 characters' superpower. For Papa Who, once per game, you may look at a card that one player has just shown another player. Mama Who, once per game, you may start 2 rumors on the same turn. You're probably wondering what's a rumor in this game, and the rulebook doesn't even describe what a rumor is either. It's just another word for suggestion. For Auntie Who, or Auntie Who, once per game, you may randomly pick a card to look at from someone you just showed a card to. Whoville Mayor, once per game, you may move twice. Roll the dice, move, then roll again. Cousin Who, once per game, you may start a rumor using a room you are not in. The suspect of the rumor is moved to the room you name. And Cindy Lou Who, once per game, you may move to any room that does not have a secret passage. And the second gimmick, the one that you're probably waiting for, are the a little bit more cards. There are 3 ways that you can draw a card from this deck. 1, if your character lands on a question mark space with an exact roll. Number 2, if you roll the dice and you get the question mark. And number 3, if your character gets moved to a location as part of another player's suggestion. Just keep in mind that if any one of these 3 things happens to you, you may draw a card from this deck, but you don't have to. Here's why. It's because of the Grinched cards. Of all 21 of these little bit more cards, there are 8 Grinched cards. Anytime a Grinched card gets drawn, it is placed face up on the side of the game board to show how many of them have been revealed. The first 7 do nothing, but it is advised that after the 7th Grinched card gets drawn, all players should refrain from drawing any more cards from the a little bit more deck to avoid drawing the 8th Grinch card. Because, and I quote, if 8 Grinch cards are revealed, you all lose the game. The Grinch has stolen Christmas. Did you know that there's a second way that the Grinch can steal Christmas so that all players lose the game? Is that when all players have taken their chance to make an accusation and they all fail. The other 13 cards are made up of 5 unique action cards that comes in 2 forms. The first are the ones that you must play immediately, as shown down here. The first one is, make someone reveal a card. Show this card to a player of your choice. They must immediately reveal one of their cards to all players. And the second one is move anywhere. That's right, move to any square or room on the board, now. The other 3 action cards are ones that you can choose to play right away, or you can keep until you're ready to use it. The first one is, take an extra turn. Deja Vu Who, need another chance? Here you go. Add 6 to your dice roll. Lucky Who, guess you were born under a lucky clover. And take a sneaky peek. When someone else is shown a card, demand to see it too. And that is how you play Clue the Grinch. Merry Christmas, everyone. That's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. And don't forget to check out my gaming channel, Markis P Gaming, for video game Let's Play content. I'll see you later, but until then, like always, take care.